Hi everyone, and welcome to what is technically the official season finale for TV Talk, and it is our award show, the second year we're doing this, the Talkies, where we are going to give our own little awards to our favorites in TV this season. So our first category is Best New Show. And honestly, this TV season was kind of a little disappointing, but there still were some glimmers amongst all of the dust and yucky stuff out there. And we decided to break it up into comedy and drama. So our best new comedy is one that kind of snuck up towards the end of the season, and that is my personal favorite, Trial and Error. This show is a 13-episode anthology series on NBC starring John Lithgow as a man who may or may not have killed his wife. He's a little eccentric, a bit quirky, a little bit of an oddball, but he has a big heart, and he partners up with this attorney who is trying to make his name by defending a high-profile possible murderer and saving this man's life. So John Lithgow and his attorney team up. They have kind of like a wacky team of investigators and assistants to help them solve the mystery, and this show was hilarious. I mean, the cast, it is one of the few shows where I watch it and I don't see actors on camera, I just see people. It was made to be a docuseries, and it has that feel. It's really great. They're trying something new with the comedic anthology. Hopefully it gets renewed for season 2. They set it up so that maybe we have a new murder suspect. We're not sure. It'll be great to see where it goes. Fingers crossed that NBC renews this one. On the drama side of things, our pick for Best New Drama is FX's Legion. This show is kind of tangentially related to the X-Men. The first season doesn't necessarily explain the whole connection that David Haller has to the X-Men. It kind of teases it out a little bit. If you are familiar with the X-Men comic books and the Marvel Universe, you of course know how David Haller is connected, but we won't spoil it for you. But this show was very, very trippy, but very, very beautiful. It was easily bingeable. Lots of us here at TV Talk really liked it. It had an incredibly cinematic feel to it, which is something that, television shows have been gravitating more towards nowadays, but it really did feel like you were just watching an 8-hour movie. Beautiful special effects, incredible performances by people that you would not expect to excel in those roles. Dan Stevens, formerly known as Matthew on Downton Abbey, plays the mutant David Haller. A lot of people that I watched the show with did not realize that that was the same actor. He does an incredible job of just kind of morphing into this new character, and I think for a lot of people who will probably be watching this episode of TV Talk, the one to talk about is Aubrey Plaza. We of course know her as Grumpy April from Parks and Rec, and even in the films that she's done, she's kind of played the same character. But here, she really steps out of the box. She still retains some of the quirkiness that she's known for, but she really does push the limits and explore new realms of her acting with this character. Again, Legion, 8 episodes, incredibly bingeable, renewed for season 2, which will be airing hopefully sometime in 2018, so we have that to look forward to. Our next category is the best show that ended, and this year we had to say goodbye to Bones. Bones, again, is a personal favorite of mine. I have watched it since I was in middle school. Bones is actually kind of the reason I ended up at William & Mary, but that's a whole nother story for another day. So I just have a huge place in my heart for Temperance Brennan and Celie Booth. The show had struggled, let's be honest, in seasons 10 and 11. Fox didn't really help it either. There was a lot of erratic scheduling where it would be on Tuesday this week and Friday the next. But Fox and the creative team at Bones, they really, really pushed to get Bones a final season. It was supposed to end with season 11, but Hart Hanson and the creative team said, give us 12 episodes for a season 12. We want to wrap everything up, and wrap it up they did. They brought back a lot of characters, even if it was just for 5 minutes. Betty White came back for an episode, which was incredible. They did a lot of things remembering characters who had fallen throughout the years, and they wrapped up all of the storylines. This was definitely one of those finales where you weren't left with any lingering questions. It kind of reminded me of the Downton Abbey finale last year. So I'm gonna be really sad to see Bones and Booth go, but it ended on a good note. We wish our favorite fictional couple the best. Our next category is Best Comeback, and this belongs to American Horror Story. Again, it's another one of those shows that struggled. Season 4 started off promising, but then just got really weird. Neil Patrick Harris couldn't even save it. Season 5, like, we were all like, oh yeah, hotel, this is gonna be great. And then after one episode, it was kind of like, ugh. I don't even remember how season 5 ended, and I watched all of it. But season 6, Ryan Murphy and the American Horror Story creative team did something different. They didn't tell us the theme. They released something like 30 different trailers saying one of these is related to the theme, and like you were just sitting on the edge of your seat, like, what is it? What is it? What is it? And then they shortened the season. It was only 10 episodes. It wrapped up before Thanksgiving, and the theme ended up being Roanoke, but it also kind of called back to Murder House in some of the previous seasons. You had actors playing like 3 different characters because, spoiler alert, it starts off with kind of this reality show format where, you know, people are talking about their experience living in the house, and you have the actual people and then the reenactors. And then we delve into, you know, behind the scenes stuff. They're going back. And then the last episode is just this mashup of all different forms of media and television. And, you know, they did something very creative this season. I think a large part of it was we had 0 expectations going into it. And, you know, that's great. If you want people to like something, just make people have incredibly low expectations. But it's been renewed for seasons 7, 8, and 9, I believe. Ryan Murphy has teased that season 7 will be about the 2016 presidential election. That's kind of interesting, and we're starting to hear which actors are involved. So American Horror Story had a strong season 6, and we can hope that season 7, 8, and 9 are all strong as well. Our next category is biggest TV phenomenon of the season. And, you know, maybe real life 2016, 2017 was a little upsetting, you know, with the state of politics and current events and all of that. But on the bright side, it did give us something to laugh at. And for that reason, our pick for TV Phenom of the season is Saturday Night Live. They're seeing their best ratings in a number of years, and a large part of that is because of Alec Baldwin as Donald Trump and Melissa McCarthy as Sean Spicer. They nail the characters, and it's a lot of fun to watch. Personally, Melissa McCarthy as Sean Spicer is my favorite, but of course Alec Baldwin is killing it as Donald Trump. We've got like 3 more episodes of SNL this season, so it'll be really exciting to see what they do with their Trump and Spicer characters with those. Melissa McCarthy is actually hosting an episode in May, so maybe she'll just do it entirely as Sean Spicer. That would be a treat. Unfortunately, we say goodbye to SNL at the end of May. Weekend Update, though, is coming back as its own show this summer, so maybe Alec Baldwin and Melissa McCarthy will make an appearance there. We can only hope, because we have to have something to laugh at these days. Our next category is Best Late Night Comic. Again, with the state of current events and politics, the late night comics are loving it. A lot of them are putting out really great material reminiscent of what Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert were doing when they were on Comedy Central. So we had a lot of great comedians to choose from, but here at TV Talk, our pick for Best Late Night Comic is Samantha Bee. Samantha Bee is the only woman in late night comedy right now, and she is doing a great job. A large part of it is probably because right as she started her show was kind of when politics started exploding and the world went insane, but she has such a unique take on current events, and she's so different from everybody else out there that it's really exciting to watch what she can do. We all need a woman's voice in our life telling us about these crazy politicians, and she's doing a great job. She's also hosting kind of like an anti-White House Correspondents' Dinner that's been affectionately called Nerd Prom, I believe. So we have that to look forward to. Hopefully it will be televised, because we all need more Samantha Bee in our life. Our next category is the show we couldn't stop talking about, for good or bad reasons. And this pick is a recent entry into the race, and that show is 13 Reasons Why. And if you are unfamiliar with it, it basically follows the story of a young woman who commits suicide and leaves tapes for all of the people that she blames for this event. This show has been very controversial. It has been criticized for its graphic depictions of suicide and rape, and a lot of people are talking about it for not good reasons. A lot of mental health professionals feel that this show does more harm than good for those who are suffering from mental illness. And unfortunately, people are still talking about it. Some people are trivializing it, if you're familiar with the whole meme thing that they made. This show is not something to make light of. The creative team behind the show is saying that, things need to be this graphic to make people uncomfortable, to start a conversation. But is that always the case? We don't know. Some of us here at TV Talk have watched the show. Some of us have read the book. We kind of have mixed feelings on it. If you're struggling, please seek help. Be careful watching this show. Take care of yourself. Not all shows are talked about for good reasons. Now switching back to a lighter note, our next category is Show That Should End. And this show for TV Talk is Once Upon a Time. It started off really strong. I watched like the first half of the first season and I was like, oh, this is interesting. But some people who have actually stuck with it, they say it has just gotten kind of like soap opera-ish and not in a good way. There's lots of like love triangles and oh no, I can't marry you, and oh no, look at all this drama. From an outsider's perspective, it just seems like they have thrown in a bunch of random Disney characters who don't really fit in with like the fairy tale of Snow White or whatever. Like, what are Anna and Elsa doing in this show? A large part of that is probably because ABC and Disney are pretty tight. But anyways, I mean, we're all just waiting for Lightning McQueen to show up at this point, aren't we? So, sorry to say Once Upon a Time, but you are our pick for a show that's gotta end. Our next category is show to look forward to, and that show is Stranger Things. Season 2 drops on Halloween, and after that cliffhanger ending, I'm sure everybody is waiting on the edge of their seat to find out what's gonna happen. Don't binge it all in one sitting, like, savor it. I mean, you waited so long for it, you don't want it to, like, go away like that. Anyways, 6 months, not that long of a wait, you'll be fine. Our next category is kind of a unique one, and this one is Best Teamwork. And the recipient of this award is Game of Thrones for a couple of reasons. First of all, as many people know, Game of Thrones, the show, based on a series of books. The books are really long. The author of the books, George R.R. Martin, has been writing the 6th book for goodness knows how many years. It's been a long time. And the show and the books had kind of been matching, like, season 1 of the show was based off of book 1, but when they finished season 5, it was this, uh-oh moment, we don't have any more books. So what the showrunners and the author have done is they're now able to work together to kind of coordinate on big events, but still tell their own stories. So right now, what you're watching in Game of Thrones, seasons 6, 7, and 8, is maybe going to be similar to book 6, The Winds of Winter, but it's also going to be different. And that's really great for fans of Game of Thrones because you're getting high quality entertainment in 2 forms. It's not going to be like Pretty Little Liars where you're reading the same thing you're watching, but that's a whole nother story. So Game of Thrones is really killing it on the teamwork aspect. And also within the show, you have all of these amazing characters that are teaming up to fight evil and to wrap up all these really big storylines, and now you're actually getting answers to all of your questions. So Game of Thrones is really working hard. We can't wait for when it comes back this summer. It's gonna be super exciting. All right, and our final category is Best Performance of the Season. And we have a 2-way tie that is probably influenced a little bit by our picks for Best New Shows. And the first recipient for the Best Performance Award is the entire cast of Trial and Error. They work so well together. Even the like minor characters that you only see for one scene, everyone is so committed to the role they're in. I said it earlier in the episode, Trial and Error is one of the only shows that when I watch it, I feel like I am not watching television. It feels like you're watching reality TV, like one of those true crime shows, which I think speaks to the quality of, you know, the show itself. Like, it's so good you don't feel like you're watching a sitcom. It's going to be sad to see John Lithgow leave because he was such an incredible character in this show, but hopefully we'll have another lead next season, fingers crossed, that is just as good as John Lithgow. Our second pick for Best Performance of the Season is Aubrey Plaza in Legion. And, you know, if you felt that Parks and Rec was her, like, defining career moment, the defining role, you need to think again. Parks and Rec may have given her her start and gotten her to where she is today, but Legion is serving as a turning point in her career. What you saw before, just kind of the sarcastic, apathetic, comedic role, she has now proven that she can take on more dramatic roles and handle, like, not that Parks and Rec wasn't good, but handle real acting. You know, you really feel something when you watch her in Legion, and you can't take your eyes off of her. So Aubrey Plaza and the cast of Trial and Error, we congratulate you for winning the Talkie for Best Performance of the Season. Unfortunately, we don't have a trophy to give you, but gold star in our books. Well, that wraps up the Talkies this year. This is our last official episode of the season, but stay tuned because we will have some extra episodes coming out the first couple weeks of May so you can take a break when you're studying for your finals and watch some TV talk. Thank you so much for watching us this season. We'll be back next year. As always, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, WMTV 1693, and follow us on all of our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and check out our website. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.